go-ahead run comes to the plate with 2 out. The noise is electrifying. This crowd is really becoming a part of the ball game now. The fastball.
Alrighty, good evening, folks. We have not shut down yet. We're keep on keeping on. This is Sports Goofs number 57. I'm joined again by Charles and Andrew, remotely, of course. So everybody stay home as much as possible if you can. And what's up, guys?
Practicing that social distancing.
Oh, yeah. People are trying to start a beef on Twitter. So they put like social distancing with like an image of the World Series trophy and the Milwaukee Brewers logo next to it. or far away from it, not really next to it, you know? Oh, yeah. Yeah. A lot of people are trying to keep the Houston Asterix thing alive. Like, hey, once all this is over, we haven't forgotten. You know, we haven't forgotten. So wrestling, still going on. The show must go on, as we have seen. And, yeah, well, let's jump into some depressing news. The 2020 Tokyo Olympics have been pushed by the International Olympic Committee to 2021. And as I noted on our message board, it seems like only Mario and Sonic were the ones to participate in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, which is, I guess, an accomplishment. So go video games, I guess. And yeah, I mean, it was to be expected at this point. Nobody's traveling. Nobody's moving around. Japan is still shut down. Although spring training is still happening for them with regards to the Nippon Baseball League and the Korean Baseball Organization. They're still going as far as doing training, but without any crowds. So that's the stuff that's happening there. I do want to jump in to one of our smaller segments already, and that's Gottlieb's Goons. And it's funny how they kind of just they swooped in at the end, but much as we all know, and especially Andrew, the NCAA always finds a way to shoot itself in the foot. Mm-hmm. Especially in the public eye, and well, they've done it again, gentlemen. Andrew, I don't know if you saw it already.
I have not, actually.
Oh, you have not. Well then.
We get a first take on it.
Okay.
A hot take then.
Okay.
All right. So, Andrew, do you know who Trevor Lawrence is?
Of course.
Who is he?
He is the starting quarterback for the Clemson Tigers, the 2018 national champions.
Okay. Well, and I guess we're getting deferring statements here, but Trevor Lawrence and his GF decided to create a GoFundMe account to help coronavirus victims. And so he created this account. It was up to about like $2,000 or so, which I think was probably going to rise even more as time would go on. But good old NCAA swooped in and said, shut it down, lads. You can't use your image. I guess he had like a photo of himself there. You can't use your image to self-promote, you know, and benefit from it, even though in reality he's not benefiting from it. It's somebody else. So the NCAA said, put the kibosh on that. Although now they're saying they're denying it, that they shut it down. And yeah, of course, okay, there's a process to go through. You know what? Screw the processes right now. You know, we're in kind of desperate times. And sometimes some rules, you just got to let them go, especially the NCAA. The NCAA does nothing important. It really doesn't. It does nothing important. They really, all of them should be at home doing nothing. The athletes should do whatever the hell they want in this moment, raise money, what have you. Some of them are going to have parents that are not going to have jobs, or siblings that are not going to have jobs, or whoever. Like, it's at this point, just screw off, NCAA. God.
Well, I can't say that I'm surprised. This is an organization that up until probably 5 years ago, I could be getting my years wrong, but I'm not getting the point behind it wrong. This is an organization that put limits on how much athletes could be fed. And there was, my goodness, I forget his name, but there was a star basketball player for UConn back in, I want to say 2011, who called them out on that shit during a post-game interview during March Madness and said, we're going to sleep starving. And eventually the NCAA came around and lifted those restrictions. But this is also an organization that deemed a high school player ineligible because his coach allowed him to sleep in his house as opposed to sleeping in his car because he was homeless.
Yeah.
The NCAA is a sadistic organization that is so full of double standards, it's beyond ridiculous. And this is so not surprising to me in the least. This isn't the first time that a player has tried to host a fundraiser to raise money and they shut it down. This is an organization that prevented one of UCF's players, Donald DeLahaye, from maintaining a YouTube account while bringing up that he was a student athlete. They are just, and this is an organization that's not paying players, despite the fact that this is a billion-dollar organization, multi-billion-dollar organization. And they are so reactive. They are never proactive. The only reason that they're starting to consider the name, image, likeness, NIL, the only reason they're starting to consider NIL is because California forced their hand and said, California and New York forced their hand and said, look, you may not be doing it, but we're going to do it. So this is not a proactive organization. They are going to stand their ground as long as possible to milk every single dollar out of these players, out of the whole institution, whatever. And only at the last minute, when they realize if this goes any further, we're going to start losing money, will they change. And that's why they did the NIL thing, because if Florida passed it, California passed it, I think New York passed it, I know North Carolina was considering it. There are several states that are either have passed or considering these NIL laws. California, for instance, you've got USC, you've got UCLA, Florida, you've got FSU, UF, New York, you've got teams. I know this is kind of a roundabout way of me saying I am totally not surprised that the NCAA is doing this, and it is reprehensible. I get it.
Yeah.
One thing, look, I am totally for the players being able to profit off their likeness. Totally. But let's say that I wasn't. I think it is a universally agreed that it's a good thing that he's using Trevor Lawrence is considered one of the best players in college football right now. There's a decent chance he'll get drafted in the first round this coming year, now that he'll be eligible for the draft because he's a true junior. For anyone that doesn't know, you have to be in college for 3 years after graduating high school. So your eligibility will either start start after your true junior year or your redshirt sophomore year. So Trevor Lawrence, there's a good chance that he could be drafted in the first round, potentially the first round pick, because he's a great player. He's using a very powerful thing, which is his image. It's one thing if he's using it to benefit himself, which I'm totally okay with. He's using it to benefit people that really need it. This is sort of akin to Joe Burrow mentioning the situation in his hometown area of Ohio. And during his Heisman speech, he brought something to light that no one knew about. And in the days following, hundreds of thousands of dollars were raised for that area. Trevor Lawrence is doing the same thing, in a sense. He's bringing his image, his power, if you will, to make it so it's not just some random GoFundMe or whatever, which this could have raised tens of thousands of dollars. But instead, no, we can't have him trying to help people, doing a nice thing.
Yeah, here in this article, I mean, the NCAA is denying that they were the ones that told him to stop and that it was actually the compliance with Clemson's rules. But of course, Clemson is just trying to comply within the rules that the NCAA has already set. You know what I'm saying?
Same thing with Donald Delahaye over at UCF. Technically speaking, it was UCF. It's complicated. Technically, UCF was the one that said to him, you know, here's our interpretation of the NCAA rule. And, you know, eventually they struck a deal with the NCAA to say, you know, you can keep your YouTube channel and talk about your life as a student athlete. You just have to demonetize it. Or if you don't demonetize it, then you lose your eligibility. UCF was the one that brought it up to him first because that's their job, is to make sure that they don't get into trouble, but the athlete doesn't get into trouble. So I'm trying to think of an analogy here. It's not, technically speaking, Clemson is the one telling him to do this. That is true, technically speaking. But it's, oh God, this is going to be such a horrible analogy, but okay. It's almost like someone with a gun pointed to their head telling someone to do something else. Clemson is forced by the NCAA to do this. Otherwise, they're going to lose tons of money. They're going to lose scholarships. They're going to have violations up the wazoo. I do not for a second blame Clemson here, and for the NCAA to try to pass the buck here is disingenuous at best, and trying to cover their ass. Well, they are trying to cover their ass.
Yeah. They're trying to kind of push away the perception on them. It's like, hey, it's not us, guys. It's them. But we all know that their cockamamie system. I've been dying to use that word for the longest, for a week now. Gosh, is what's created this kind of mini mess that they've got here. But
as you can tell, I am very fond of the NCAA.
I think we all are. All right. Any other goons you guys have for the past week?
Yep.
Ooh.
And I just want to say the NCAA, by the way, are cockamamie babies. Is that something we could do? Does that help perpetuate the hatred? No? Get back to
Yeah,
me.
why not?
It's a long quarantine, guys. Some things are going to stick. We talked about this in the group chat, so I'll just kind of put it out there now. Amidst all the craziness of what is the proper form of social distancing, isolating, quarantining, there are certain essential kind of things and jobs and places that you need to go to, Publix, Walmart, because you get essential goods. But I never thought in my life that an essential thing would have to be getting a $3 trade-in credit for God of War or Doom Eternal if I bought it on the same day. So that is what GameStop was trying to profess to everybody when they were trying to tell their employees that they are essential. And now they've changed their tune, obviously, in compliance to CDC. So my Godlip Goon is GameStop. So the triple G and not in a good fashion. And not to go further into the whole politics of it, really, it's because GameStop is on life support as it is. They couldn't get a buyer when they went to try to get a new buyer to help them out. They're going under. And maybe this whole CV is their death sentence waiting happening, but you're not helping your public image for the poor kid making, I don't know, $7.35 an hour, just trying to tell people that, you know, their old Xbox 360 compiled with their Xbox One, compiled with their Xbox One X is only worth like $30. And reading their reasoning was saying that they sell communication goods, headphones, network connectors. I'm like, dude, what? Come on. It was a bad attempt to kind of go against any kind of municipal ordinance, state ordinance, or state law, and bad business practices, I would say. And I don't really have much love for corporations because I don't think they really care about people, contrary to what other people might feel like. That's just my opinion. I won't get into it there. But this is kind of a disclaimer. And even though they've changed their policies on it, first starting with shutting down stores in California, now everything else, doing an about face because you got egg on your face shows that you just covering your face, right? So now they're doing curbside deliveries. Fine. Everything's digital these days anyway. You only get antique dinosaurs like myself for like the physical copy, because I don't know about you guys, but nothing. And because I'm old, right? Francisco, Andrew, we're old. Not too old, but we're old. So there's nothing for us that beats unwrapping a video game the first time, getting that sense. I get a little, like, you know, watery around the mouth when I have the plastic flim off. And in today's day and age,
I think that might be an allergic reaction, but okay.
Maybe, but damn it, it's a good kind. It's like eating chocolate when you're allergic to it. Unfortunately, you don't get the cool game manuals when you pop it open. But in today's world, where you're mostly digital, you can't speak to be essential on the basis your name is GameStop to begin with. It's not like your telecommunications stop. But it's gonna stop with you real soon because this is just bad public image, and I don't know what's gonna happen to them. I don't even know how you really get curbside delivery, because if I'm a parent for some 9-year-old that I have to appease, if I'm trying to buy Kirby's as Star Allies for Nintendo Switch, I would rather just get the eShop form of it as opposed to having to drive and wait for some guy to actually touch, especially in a quarantine phase. Let's think about this. If you're concerned about who's touching what, why would you want to have some guy who probably didn't wash his hands for 20 seconds as opposed, or he only washed it for 18 seconds as opposed to 20, delivering you a physical copy to give to your child? I don't know. That's where my mind goes. But they're a goon just because they obviously showed their face and said, hey, we don't really care about the people that we employ, because it's so those people who are being susceptible to any kind of unnecessary interaction. And listen, I can understand being cooped up and I can understand wanting to make money, but if you talk about all the unnecessary interaction that's happening today's time, going to mosey around GameStop just to haggle, or not even be able to haggle when you're just getting screwed over on a trade, or looking at Funko Pops.
I'm only getting 19 cents for this infection that I'm getting.
Yeah, congratulations. You know, you get 19 cents for your game, but, you know, $19,000 medical bill.
What do you mean Madden 2004 only cost 20 cents?
Now they don't even take it back. So that's my goon of the week.
Before I go with my goon of the week, I'm talking with Freddie behind the scenes. He sent me his projections for the 2020 season for NFL. The reason he brought it up is his who he projects are going to be the worst team, so would be in the best position to draft Trevor Lawrence. That's where we circle back, assuming that he declares next season. The number one pick next year, according to Freddie, the New England Patriots.
Huh. Oh,
He
God.
has them taking a humongous nosedive. He projects they're going to go 2-14. They're going to go 2-10 in conference, 1-5 in the division. I wonder who that one team is. Second pick would go
The New York
to
Jets.
the Washington football team. 30th or third pick would be the Bengals.
Yeah, interesting.
29th is the Chargers. I'm going in reverse order. 28th is the Jags.
Okay.
So that's like your first 5 pick or so. Oh, second and third would be Jacksonville / Las Vegas.
I agree with a lot of these.
Name some teams. Tell me well, I guess I'll go with the Dolphins.
Yeah.
He projects them being the 7th best team, would go 11-5.
Wow.
Really?
Let's see, the Bucks with the newly minted Tom Brady, which we'll hopefully discuss, because that was made official since our last show. He sees them going 8-8 as the 12th best team. Oh, these are the playoff teams, I guess. Who else would you like to hear about?
The Titans.
Yep.
We retain almost everybody and sign some
Well,
guys
here's
to fill in.
Hello?
I can hear you. What's up,
I
dude?
can hear you.
Maybe he's.
We're live.
Maybe his connection is a little slow.
I don't get it. For some reason, this happened last week.
I think it's
some
a.
reason-
I think it's a bit of lag on your end, probably.
For some reason, I don't know why, my computer decides to turn down the volume by itself. So, by the time I realize it, there's complete silence on the other side, and it's like, damn, what happened? I don't know why. Stupid computer. I love you, computer. Stay with me. You're an awesome. I don't know. He says the top team would be the New Orleans Saints, would go 13-3. Although the team with the best record would be the Ravens, who go 15-1. Although if 5 points vids makes any indication, a 15-1 record is the kiss of death, because they always seem to have trouble in the playoffs, and I think he said that no 15-1 team has ever won the Super Bowl.
Well, yeah. I mean, the Vikings did it, and they lost in the NFC Championship back in '98.
And it's not just losing; it's in like ridiculous fashion. There's like a curse to being 15-1.
Yeah.
Panthers went 15-1 and lost to armless Peyton Manning in 2015.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Let's see what. So.
Where
Yeah.
does he have the Titans, Andrew?
Man, this is amazing. We went from this to GameStop.
The Titans, he has.
Actually, I'm gonna get this out of Goons section
He
here.
has them going to 4, and he sees them going 11-5.
Okay, I can take that.
Oh, and just briefly, go back to Goons really quick. I'm not done with my Goon yet.
Ooh, okay. By the way, I have All-Star Baseball 2002, I think, or 3. Not sure which one I got in the background.
Well, it's for the 2002 season, so it's 2003 because, as we know, it's a very convoluted system that All-Star Baseball has, because their matchup is the 2001 World Series.
Ah, yes.
My Goon is all of these frickin' teams that are either cutting staff entirely or firing staff or cutting their pay to quote Monday Night Football. Come on, man. Or NFL Primetime, whatever the pre-game segment is. Come on, seriously. This is an unprecedented moment in in world history. Forget United States. Nothing of this magnitude has been seen in anyone's lifetime. Well, maybe some lifetimes, but for the majority of us, this has never happened before. There's no precedent to this. And yet they're like, oh, well, we got to save a few bucks to... No, you guys are freaking billionaires. You will be totally fine if you don't have games going on. You're not going to starve with your billions of dollars. The people that really need help are the staff, and they're getting put out to dry. And that's just unconscionable. If what the NCAA doing is bad in my mind, what these organizations are doing is so much worse. It is, I can't even think of a word for it. Despicable is letting them off lightly. It's
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, it's par for the course. It's not like it's unprecedented in a sense, because every time there's like a lockout or something, that's the same thing happens. The same thing happens. They cut staff. They cut salaries, and
I mean, I get it, and absolutely, and even then, it's stupid and ridiculous and just abhorrent to any sort of human decency. But, and this is a very minute saving grace to doing it then. They can still possibly get jobs if they're laid off or furloughed or whatever you want to call it. They can't right now. Unless you get a job in what's deemed an essential service for states like New York, California, even Orange County, Florida right now, and I assume many, many, many other states. In the world, there's over 1 billion people that have been told to shelter in place. And the U.S., hopefully, is going to start joining that a bit. Well over 1 billion, actually. India just went, the entire country of India just went into shelter in place. That's over 1 billion people. I think it was like, I don't remember the number. It was like 20% of the world
Andrew,
population.
I need to go out on my boat this weekend. And I'm not going to call he or she out, but a friend from law school was also out on the boat last weekend that forced the Miami-Dade mayor to shut it down. And I honestly facepalmed and thought, what? Like, I thought you were better than this, you know? Like, that, I legitimately thought that. And I thought you were better than this. That's how I thought. I'm like, my God. All to go out in your tiny little ass boat. You know, I wouldn't have mind if you're like 4 miles out at sea and there's nobody around. But no, the sandbar with about like 100 other people all there breathing in their dirty air. Like, ugh. Dear God. Dear God. That's an aside.
You get my point.
Yeah,
and
that's an aside. Sorry.
No. I actually messaged you to find out who it is.
I'll tell you after the show.
But there's something just so much worse about doing it right now, because the world is shutting down.
Yeah, I mean,
People are losing.
look, if the sports leagues are not running still, then nothing else should be. Because usually sports keeps going. Usually, like throughout lots of tragedies that we've had in our lifetimes. Yes, maybe there's a bit of a delay, like a week or something. But then
Nothing like this.
sports comes back. Like after, the September 11th, after here in like Florida or in Texas or in all along the Gulf Coast or the Atlantic Coast, after like hurricanes, after like tornadoes out there, after earthquakes. Like, heck, there was an earthquake during a World Series between the A's and the Giants. Like, sports delays a little bit, but then comes back in full force, like, and just to inspire people. And right now, sports can't come back. So if sports can't come back, then how can anything else come back? Just to get the sports angle in here, because we're sports goofs, not, I don't know what else, something else goofs. News goofs? I have no idea.
Media goofs?
Yeah, we're not the Daily Show. We're not the Daily Show. You know?
But yeah, that's my goon. And actually, before we move on, interesting news here I'm finding out from The Athletic. There is some additional context here from the whole Trevor Lawrence thing. Okay, hold on. Just looking really quick.
The Athletic, not a goon, by the way. Just saying.
Is this guy legit? I don't know.
Is it a real check mark, or is it like the fish cake that I have
Well,
next to ours?
there is a real check mark on this person.
I put a fish cake next to ours because it kind of sort of looks like a check mark. Have you guys noticed that on our Twitter handle? It's a fish cake.
I have. Now I have to.
It's almost a check mark. It's almost legitimate, you know?
So Clemson did not hear directly, as we mentioned.
You finally noticed it. Okay, all right.
Did not hear directly from the NCAA, so as you mentioned. But I don't know. I'll have to look into this further.
Okay.
But still, yeah.
All right. Okay. Is that all our goons for this past week?
I could go on for longer, but
we can have like just a COVIDiots segment if we wanted to. But
COVID, I like that.
You know, University of Tampa students that got the virus on spring break. Anyways, let's see. So, you know what? That's enough goons. Let's talk about our real MVPs over the past week. All right. So, anybody that stands out for you guys, or other than Trevor Lawrence, who's trying to do his thing, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think it goes without saying, and this is the second week I've done it, and you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to do this every single week. Shout out to our essential services personnel.
Oh, yeah.
Even the quote-unquote non-essential personnel. Typically essential personnel, it's our doctors, our nurses, first responders. But, the other people keeping society running, like delivery people working in restaurants, caregivers, therapists, anyone who's having to go out and is helping society in some way to retain some semblance of normalcy and just helping people. That's I'm gonna keep bringing it up every week because you can't ever understate how important they are and how loved and cherished they are for doing this. So that's like my permanent real MVP. But I'll let you guys do your sports related MVPs or whatever, and I'll come back around.
I mean,
And I'm sure I'm speaking on behalf of you guys as well.
Correct.
This is
Because if not, then you're terrible people.
okay. So I'd have to. I mean, there's so many athletes that are still giving. So I'm real MVP to all those guys because when ownership is not stepping up, then these players are, especially for a close staff that they know aren't getting paid the big bucks alongside them. I'm trying to think of somebody outside the box that I haven't outside of. I'm gonna have to give it to like small businesses and anybody that's you guys know as much like just like Charles especially we like food.
There you go.
And
If you guys support a food establishment,
on
Francisco, I'm right there with you.
here's a real MVP. Here's a real MVP. So I found this article. So one of the things that worried me the most about this whole virus thing was eating food, like sustaining oneself. And biggest thing for me is getting takeout and things like that. Because we can't go to restaurants, so the only way is to get takeout or get delivery. And my fear was, well, how the heck am I going to be safe from the virus if I don't know who's preparing my food and what they've done and their grubby mitts all over my food. When I don't know, like when I prepare my own food, I know that I've washed my hands. I know that it's been inside of like a plastic bag and hermetically sealed and stuff like that. But when you order like a Postmates or DoorDash or Grubhub or what have you, it's hard to tell. Well, I found this article from Serious Eats. They're my real MVP. It's a guide to food safety and the virus. It was published on the 20th. So that was 4 days ago, and it's basically quelling my fears about ordering food from outside. It's perfectly fine. The virus doesn't enter your system through your digestive system, so you're not going to eat the virus. You breathe it in. It's a respiratory illness. And the virus doesn't really stick as well to food because food is organic material. Much like the issue, like with regards to washing your hands, is the virus isn't going through your skin. It doesn't do that. Your skin is powerful enough to prevent that. But it's the idea that if it's on your skin, you touch your face, you might breathe it in, and that's the issue. So it answered some of my questions with regards to how the virus enters your system and how it affects food. And so it's very, very detailed. He's conversed with doctors and everybody else about this and how safe it is. I mean, if you're ordering out and let's say you have issues with like containers, like plastic containers. So the idea is, okay, bring it in, wear gloves or wash your hands after you've handled it. Take it out, put it onto a clean plate or a clean container, throw out the other container, burn it in your backyard if you can. You don't have to do that. You don't have to go to that extremes, but I feel like I would. And wash your hands thoroughly, make sure you're all clean and whatnot, and then you can prepare the food. Another thing is you can stick that thing in the oven or the microwave, and you can basically just fry the thing, the virus out as well. So there's ways to be more. There's ways to eat food from outside without having to worry that you're gonna get this thing. So whoever wrote this article, or the people who got together to make this article, they're my real MVPs because it's helped me a lot.
Can you send me that link?
Sure. Yes. Yeah.
Especially if I tuned out to science.
Yeah,
it must survive.
Yeah, food industry, food science. J. Kenji Lopez. Thank you for writing this. So yeah, I'll see if I can post it to our Discord page. All right. Anybody else, Charles?
Yep, I got one. All inspirational stories, but this one is the true MVP of my heart. It's a nice old lady at Publix who called me good looking today, despite the fact that I
Oh.
had paper towels in my hand. I think she was just trying to snake charm me.
When you go to Publix, I mean, how do you go to Publix? Like
Well,
nowadays?
I went to I just go to Publix. Listen, man, to quote Ivan Drago, if he dies, he dies. If I die, I die. But my paralegal goes to me, is like, hey, man, they got toilet paper. I'm like, I need the toilet paper because I'm sick of wiping my behind with 2-ply Dollar Tree tissues. But granted, they're emergency, but I'm taking the L for a little bit until it happens. So I went, and I also needed a case of water anyway. So I got my case of water, and then I'm like, well, I have a lot of pets, so paper towels would probably go faster in my house than toilet paper. But considering the fact that everybody is being a maniac when in Rome, so there I am, have it. And her and I were joking because she was coming through a cart, and there was some a-hole guy, and I'm just looking at what kind of paper towels I want. The choice between Viva, Sparkle, and Brawny. Sometimes it's a collective choice, and sometimes it's a gut instinct. So this guy's coming in at full speed. I don't know if he thought he needed to get toilet paper, but there was no toilet paper. But I just moved, and she made a joke about it. I made a joke about it too. Ha ha ha. And so, she's like, oh, so it's like, good looking guy, Publix paper towel. She's like granny age. But I liked it because, guys, you can't see me right now, but my face is like kind of sunburnt and bronze at the same time because I made the mistake of trying to be a healthy goof. And so on Sunday, I went jogging. I know I'm shocked as well because I have weights in the house, which reminds me to go to Play It Again Sports. But I have, weights in the house, but I don't have cardio equipment. So I was like, all right, I'll jog. So I parked my car at the park, made sure it's locked, and I jogged for like an hour. Where I don't know. I don't track it. I know when I've had enough as I'm breathing, heaving, and puking on the side of the road. And I did in the sun. And of course, I put on sunblock. But since I am descendants of like pasty white glue people, I either burn pretty easily or I'll tan. So I remember leaving, I put the SPF on my face. I put the little copper tan as well because I want to be a beautiful Colombian copperhead. Instead, I end up becoming a Argentinian tomato. That's my nationalities and ethnicities for everybody who didn't know. So it kind of lifted my spirits because I kind of know I look like a bad nightmare of red meets bronze meets pasty white all in one thing. I'm like a Neapolitan ice cream right now, you guys. So old granny lady at the Publix, you the real MVP. Thank you for helping my self-esteem. Who says you need social distancing when I can get compliments? I don't have to go on an Instagram video or on TikTok to try to get followers. I just go to my local Publix. Yay, thumbs up.
Yeah. A real MVP is, especially to everybody working at Publix and supermarkets and grocery stores and pharmacies and what have you. I mean, they're on the front lines as well. They got to be there with other people. Publix has senior shopping hours just to help senior citizens not deal with other younger people who might have the virus. So that's great. I've been to Publix twice since I've locked myself in. I basically go in a spacesuit.
Really? Are you wearing the mask and everything?
Oh yeah, I wear sweatpants. I wear my Sonic the Hedgehog inspired shoes because they have straps on them. I wear high socks. I wear shirt. I wear a light jacket on top, and not a heavy one. I wear the nylon gloves. I wear the mask. On top of that mask, I wear a bandana that goes over on top of it, over the mask, so a little more layer of protection, and then a hat on top. I'm only the goggles away from being a complete spacesuit there, but that's how I go. That's how I go. I really don't care what I look like, and of course, I go to Publix and people they don't bat an eye. They don't bat an eye, People have been respectful, 6 feet apart in the aisle and the lines and stuff like that. So, thanks to the Publix employees for not making me feel like I'm a complete loon. At this point, I don't care. Like a guy got within like a foot more. Like this guy was trying to like save his place in line, and he was forcing his friend to like stay in line. Hey, get in line. I'm gonna get some stuff and get in line. And like he was like telling his friend like get closer, and I'm like I gave him like the death stare, like a stink eye. Like, dude, you are within the 6 feet. You have moved within 5.5 feet. I'm gonna need you to step back half a foot. You know, I gave
That's
him
my
that look.
purse. I don't know you.
Yeah, that's my purse. I don't know you. From a King of the Hill. Yeah. So that's but yeah, real MVPs to a ton of people out there. Ton of people. So, ooh, gosh, this is.
You had a moment there.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's so much to go around. Let's get some of the smaller segments out here. I'm going to leave our other stuff for the back half, esports gaming, and we'll talk about the fictional sports as well. But, all right, I have well, I'm sure there's no Fulmer Cup stuff, right, Andrew? Especially with all this going down.
No.
Everybody.
I checked, and nothing has happened in at least a week.
Well, and there's some good, college kids not being that dumb out there, so that's good. Hopefully that keeps up when we can go back to normal life. Anyways, I'll return back to this. So I have, well, it's a segment that I haven't created a graphic for. It's called Selling Out.
Okay.
And as you guys know, I don't know if I'm gonna die for the Dow, but I'm gonna harp on some companies out here who have glommed their names onto some of the stuff we like in sports. So today I'm gonna have Smoothie King, because I find the name of their arena in New Orleans to be stupid. So they were founded in 1973 out of Kenner, Louisiana. I mean, they're headquartered now in Dallas, Texas. They renamed the New Orleans Arena back in 2014 to the Smoothie King Center, and they'll have that name up until 2024, although Smoothie King has the option to extend that dumb name up to 2034. So it could be 20 years of Smoothie King Center.
I actually
you
drove
ever
by
had
the
Smoothie
Smoothie
King?
King Center a couple of years ago.
I mean, it's right next to the Superdome.
Right.
It's big.
Yeah.
It's bright.
So
The shakes are okay.
yeah, they're only found in warm weather cities, by the way. So you won't find a Smoothie King in a northern city. I don't know why. Maybe because they feel people up north don't want to drink smoothies and be cold. I have no idea. They're also found in South Korea, the Cayman Islands, and Singapore. And here's an interesting tidbit with regards to sports. The NBA took 8 months to test all of Smoothie King's products for banned substances before they could let the deal finalize for the renaming of the arena. I'd never heard of something like that. I mean, I don't think I've heard. I don't know, like when the Dolphins named it to Land Shark Stadium, I don't think the NFL was like, you know what, we're gonna have to test these beers in order to figure out if they're good for the NFL. And maybe they did, and they just got really, really wasted for a weekend with Jimmy Buffett. We're gonna head down to Key West and test out these beers, make sure they're safe for the NFL players. No marijuana, by the way, guys. You stay back there, Ricky Williams. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Just my scenario of how that would have gone down for the NFL. All right, better know a minor league team. This time, and I've been sitting on this one for a while. The Long Island Nets. The Long Island Nets. They are the NBA G League affiliate of the Brooklyn Nets. They were founded in 2016. They have no championships. They have no notable roster, alumni, or staff that I can think of. They play out in Uniondale, New York at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum, which is home to who else, Andrew? Or semi-home.
That would be the Islanders.
Yeah, the semi-home of the Islanders.
Soon to be permanent in a couple of years once the renovations are done.
Actually, no, they're moving into a new arena.
But it's on the same site, or at least near it, right?
Yeah, or in the same county at least. But they, the Memorial Coliseum opened in 1972. It's the historic home of the Brooklyn Nets because they were originally the New York Nets back in the American Basketball Association. And then, of course, they merged with the NBA and they moved to New Jersey after that to become New Jersey Nets. 14,500 people capacity for basketball. And once again, yes, the second / historic home of the New York Islanders. And here's some wrestling history in that building. Nassau has been a mainstay for the WWE for over 30 years. Has hosted Raw and SmackDown so many times I can't even list it here, including the taping of a SmackDown episode where professional wrestler Droz,
Kevin Drozdov.
Yeah, suffered a career.
Known as Duke.
Yeah, he suffered a career-ending injury in 1999.
Yep, D'Lo Brown botched a running power bomb. Poof.
Ouch.
Out.
Oh, dear Lord. Yikes. On August 25th, 2002, SummerSlam was hosted at the Coliseum. On April 10th, 2017, they renovated the Coliseum, and its first event was an episode of Raw. In 2018, October, the Coliseum hosted Evolution, the promotion's first all-women's pay-per-view event.
Decent pay-per-view.
The Coliseum also hosted the opening leg of WrestleMania 2 on April 7th, 1986. Let's see, as part of an ambitious plan to have WrestleMania over 3 separate venues, including the Rosemont Horizon in Chicago and the LA Sports Memorial Arena back in Los Angeles. That's interesting. So they had a split WrestleMania over 3 venues.
Maybe that's relevant to modern day times. Tune in and find out.
I mean, it seems like it kind of reminds me of how they used to have 2 All-Star games in baseball. Because it was basically just for the Californians because the Dodgers and the Giants moved all the way out there, so they had 2 All-Star games, an East Coast one and a West Coast one. All right, and the Nassau, the main event at the Nassau leg was actually a boxing match between Roddy Piper and tough guy actor Mr. T.
Yes, I remember watching that.
Okay.
When I was perusing the network.
Interesting.
Okay.
The Nassau Coliseum also hosted several editions of the now defunct WCW Monday Nitro. And as the Coliseum was the only tri-state area venue, the southern-based WCW was allowed to hold events. Okay. And so that's the wrestling history of Nassau Coliseum. That's my better known minor league team. So some interesting tidbits there. Another small segment. Let's get I don't know if you guys remember this guy, but player we remember to forget. Carlos Guillen. You guys remember him?
Of course I remember Carlos Guillen.
Who is he?
He played, I want to say, shortstop for a few teams, but at least in my mind, most notably was the Tigers.
He played shortstop, third base, and second base over his career. He's from Venezuela. He played for the Seattle Mariners and the Detroit Tigers, only 2 teams he played for. It's interesting. 3-time All-Star, and I have no idea what the heck he's doing because his Wikipedia does not show that. So yeah, that's my guy, Carlos Guillen. He had some really, really great years for the Tigers in that transition period when they had that worst record in Major League Baseball to when they made it to the 2006 World Series and then acquired Miguel Cabrera. So yeah, there he is. Oh wait, there was let's see, there was a story about how he had some semi beef with Jared Weaver for a game or something, where he came back from injury, he hit a home run off of him, and he taunted him by flipping his bat, and then Weaver hit Alex Avila, the very next batter, and then Weaver was upset because Magglio Ordonez also hit a home run off of him, and I don't know if it was Weaver that told Miguel Cabrera or if it was Guillen that told Cabrera, but that one of them was an asshole. That somebody called somebody an asshole, and so beef went down. But then he retired in that 2011 season, and so yeah, so there you go. Or 2012 actually. But either way, he's that was his career. So Carlos Guillen, he's probably in this video game.
So your greatest claim to fame is going against an overrated Angels starter.
Well, I mean, he was a three-time All-Star. Three-time All-Star, played in the World Series in '06. I think he had a pretty good postseason for that '06 Tigers team. They got swept by the Cardinals in the World Series. So, yeah. Or no, didn't they get... No, it was a 5-game series, right? I don't think they got swept.
No, Cardinals got swept the year prior, I believe. So that's
Yeah,
where the
yeah.
consistency came in.
Right, yeah, 2006. 2005 was the White Sox. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay. All right, so we've got 5 minutes between now and our halfway point. Is there anything you guys want to talk about for 5 minutes?
I swear we have a hole in the wall small segment somewhere out there that we just don't know.
I mean, we've got.
Did let's all y'all.
Actually, hold on. Do I have a Hall of Famer that I looked up? I think I might. Give me a second. Give me a second here. Ba 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 ba. So ba ba. So real MVP fan. I didn't look up one for this episode, but we can always find one, can we? Can always look one up. So which Hall of Fame should we go to?
Well, since basketball's coming up, let's maybe dabble in a little bit of that. You know, the 2020 class that they come in with the late Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, a few other people coming into it. Basketball's always interesting to me because it's compiled of NBA players, college players, and the coaches respectively, as opposed to the NFL and then.
That's true. Yeah, but it's the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, regardless if it's college or professional or international, or women's. So that's an interesting tidbit. Yeah, the NFL it's the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and then you have the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta. Baseball is just the National Baseball Hall of Fame. So it can technically entail all of baseball, but and then hockey is just the Hockey Hall of Fame. So, all right. Let's see. Who's in the 2019 basketball Hall of Fame class? We covered one of them. We covered one of them. Let's see. Let's see. We did Al Attles. I remember doing Al Attles. So he was the one for the Golden State Warriors, and who is still technically being paid by the Golden State Warriors. He's still an employee of the Golden State. Throughout all of their ownership changes, he's still an employee. Oh, here's a good one. Grant Hill.
Yeah.
Let's go to Grant Hill. Grant Hill, there we go. That's a good one. 2018 Hall of Fame class. There we go. That's who we're going to do. Grant Hill is kind of like a what-if kind of scenario. Like, what if he didn't get injured? Because he was, like, on trajectory to being even greater than... He made it to the Hall of Fame, but I think he
had an 18-year career?
Yeah,
minus a couple knee injuries.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's he could have been even greater if it wasn't for his injuries, which speaks to how awesome he was that he made it to the Hall of Fame with the injury history that he had, and of course he recovered because I think the Phoenix Suns were like one of those them and like the Miami Heat are like one of those teams that just somehow they miraculously heal NBA players for some reason. Whatever they got going in their recovery program. It works wonders for players. Small forward Grant Hill played out of Duke. He won 2 national championships, 3 Final Fours in his 4 years with the Blue Devils. The Detroit Pistons drafted him, and of course that was back in their teal era with the horse on fire logo. Became the first rookie in any of the 4 major sports to lead the All-Star game in fan voting. He was in the 96 Olympics and he got a gold medal. He never won an NBA championship, but 2000 he joined the Orlando Magic, where the injuries kept him sidelined for several seasons. Then he rose like a phoenix from the ashes when he joined the Phoenix Suns, becoming an Iron Man and a steady veteran. So yeah, I played for 4 teams: Detroit Pistons, the Los Angeles Clippers, the Orlando Magic, and the Phoenix Suns. He's from Dallas, Texas. Inducted in 2018, 7-time All-Star, 3-time NBA Sportsmanship Award winner, 94 ACC Player of the Year, and 2-time NCAA champion. There you go. Grand
Also a modern. Well, who's he color commenting for? NBA channel or for one of them? Because I know he's a TV personality at this point, and he's one of the few successful ones. Because as much as I love Chuck and Shaq, they're more for the status thing because they just mumble all the time. Grant Hill's pretty well spoken.
Well, everybody kind of gets on like Reggie Miller in his.
Yeah. Well, Reggie is just like what he's like. If I did it, this is how I do it better. Kind of mentality.
Yeah. So let's see. What's he doing? Post NBA career. He's hosted Inside Stuff on NBA TV 2013. Sportscaster for CBS.
There you go.
CBS and Turner Sports, especially the NCAA tournament, and he's also a part owner of the Atlanta Hawks.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder if he wants an investment or a refund on that investment.
I mean, this is okay. So it wasn't part of that. Okay, this is back in 2015. So he wasn't part of that deal that forced the Atlanta Thrashers to move to Winnipeg. So all right, I was gonna get angry at him because screw Winnipeg. It's just a personal vendetta I have against Winnipeg. They don't have enough parks, so you know. And that's an inside thing with I don't know if Andrew, do you remember Ilya Bryzgalov?
Of course.
Yeah. You remember his whole parks controversy with Winnipeg?
Parks?
Okay, so Ilya Bryzgalov kind of criticized the city of Winnipeg because remember he was gonna be one of the big time NHL free agents as a goalie. Kind of reminds me of
Right.
Eerily reminds me of Bobrovsky right now. Both Russian goaltenders, both highly sought after in free agency, and then both kind of crashed and burned after they got their big contracts. But he didn't want to go to Winnipeg because they don't have enough parks. That's what he said. I don't know where he got his data from, but that's what he said. All right, we're at the halfway point now. We crossed the line, so we're a word from our non-sponsors. People, places, things, whatever, what have you. I mean, heck, our real MVP segments are almost like that, but nope. These are people we wish would sponsor us and don't. So, guys, who wants to go up?
I'll go because I haven't led into a while.
Okay, alrighty.
So, if we started this show 2 years ago, my non-sponsor would have been my gaming chair. I Respawn, it works pretty well. Before I used to have to just sit in a little fold-out chair, and it would hurt my back, it hurt my butt, and I would have to do like the little back things, but it looks so overgrown. It's like a minx coat on a midget. It doesn't really fit that well.
Oh my god.
So the last couple of weeks, I'll do some of my heavy gaming, or when I'm doing the podcast, I'm typically sitting down. So, I felt like the cushion was kind of lacking. And I told myself, I'm like, I need an ass pillow, you guys. I need a butt pillow. And I was like, but I don't have a hemorrhoid, so I don't really need a donut pillow. I just need something because the good Lord gave me genetics.
What the hell is going on?
It's helping. The good Lord gave me some genetics where there's dumps like a truck, according to Cisco from the greatest Spring Break song, Thong Song, which is not around. But sometimes you need an extra cushion. I've been feeling like the Hank Hill episode where he finds out he has no ass, so they have to get him the little water cheeks.
Yeah.
So I'm on Amazon and I took a stab. It was a deal, $20, and so I got this thing called 5 Stars United office chair pillow.
Hold on. Let me look for it.
Off of Amazon, our perennial non-sponsor, but you guys, I mean, after some adjustment, because you got to take in some of the foam and the cushion, you got to break it in a little bit. I've had it for like a couple days, but I've been gaming like kind of nonstop with this quarantine, social distancing, and I feel like my butt cheeks have slept on a Angel Soft Heaven cloud, whispered by Ewan McGregor. If that makes any sense, you would have to just try to do it. You might as well just go on Amazon there, Francisco.
Yeah, I see it here.
Yeah. So no, not a chair, but the seat.
The seat.
Or a
Okay,
pillow.
well, I got the
Yeah.
company. I got the company.
Yeah. But you got to go with the little pillow. And, because, you know what, guys, just you wouldn't hate yourself for getting one-ply toilet paper. Don't hate your butt cheeks for sitting in a chair all day. If I needed one for the office chair, I would use it on my office chair. Because, you know what I'm doing? I'm helping myself. I'm helping my lumbar. I'm helping my coccyx, or whatever they call it. I'm helping my mental health state of
Think
mind.
of toxic.
Coccyx, I'm helping my coccyx, like toxics. Don't let your butt get toxic. Basically, keeping it healthy, keeping us good. And I gotta tell you, for $20, I'll take it. It beats sitting on a regular pillow. I don't see it in the background, but just you guys can Google it, assuming I got the right name.
Yeah,
as opposed to not.
I got the
5 Stars
company.
United.
Yeah, I got the company. They sell more than just that. They sell pillows. They sell all kinds of stuff. Bed pillows.
And it's gonna feel like as if you're on a cloud with Ewan McGregor whispering in your ear. It's just something. It's saying hello there, General Kenobi. I'm like, okay. I guess I'm gonna steal this line. It's a fine thing to add to my collection, but I wasn't gonna get rid of my gaming chair. That's ridiculous. It still does good, but I did a little extra cushion for my tushy, right? And kind of satisfied, gentlemen. Kind of just satisfied. So 5 Stars United. Gaming chair pillow, office chair pillow for your rear end, and then I guess my promo code would be
I see it right there. There it is.
There we go. Let's give it a
Butt
plug.
support pillow.
But there you go. That thing. You don't have to have a hemorrhoid for these things, you guys. I'm taking the L, so you guys, no more Francisco. When you're in the office, no more Andrew. You can toughen your tushy if you get this right now. I got on stuff for 20. I don't know if I paid 25 for it. But that's my thing. 5 Stars United, seat cushion pillow, promo code soft tushy. There you go. Actually, let's rephrase that because in case children hear. So let's rephrase that to promo code durable.
Okay.
What the hell just happened?
I have no idea. All I know is there's a butt pillow. There's a butt pillow, and Charles doesn't have hemorrhoids.
You're welcome.
Good to know. All right, you're next, Charles. Or, sorry, Francisco.
I mean, gosh, wow. Oh, man.
You want to buy it now? Just look at it.
I mean, honestly, I have
the
the seat that I'm sitting in, I have a pillow on top of it. So it's making me think like now that there's a product out there in which I could
there's
use.
a non-stick, so there's no sliding down. Breathable mesh color, durable. It's a U shape. It's there. Put it on your wish list.
Okay. Oh.
You're sitting on a pillow. You just validated my point. We went on a journey, but the journey had a result. And the result is Francisco's tushy needs to be toughened too, just like mine had to. Andrew, you're next.
Oh, wait.
But go ahead.
Oh, wait. Who's going? Who wants to go?
You go.
I go? Oh, gosh. Did I even think of one? I'm going to have to think of one on the fly. If not. Yeah. All this time, I prepared all the other segments, but I didn't prepare for this one. And there's so many that I've been stuck inside, so it's hard for me to, like...
Well, what do you miss the most?
What?
What do you miss the most?
What do I miss the
being
most
stuck inside, and
from,
that could be
from
your
being
non-sponsor.
stuck inside?
Yeah,
Ooh.
interacting. Yeah.
Okay, that's a different angle. That's a different angle. You know what?
Do you want me? I actually have one. If you want me to buy you some time.
Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
All right. So my non-sponsor of the week is MLB 17, the show.
Yeah.
Ah.
This is a game that I bought a few years ago when I got a PS4, thanks to Lexus points that I accumulated through law school.
Wow, really?
Well, it wasn't enough to buy the whole thing, but it got me an Amazon card that was able to, I think, take like half, cut the price in half, basically. So I know MLB 17 isn't the most current, as it is now 3 years old.
Yeah, MLB 20 just came out too.
Yeah. But it has given me tons of hours of gaming pleasure and has satiated my need for baseball. And I've been mostly playing Road to the Show, which is, for anyone that doesn't know, it's follows the career of you. It's instead of playing the whole team, you play as one player, and you take them from just some prospect all the way through to the majors. And um, right.
I feel like this is a bit redundant that I have a video game, video playing on top of a video game that we're playing as well. Like there's two video game baseball games that are playing at the same time. We have MLB The Show 17, which I have a video from YouTube playing, and I have All Star Baseball 2003 on the bottom right corner. So it's a bit redundant there, but sure.
Well, one of them has slightly better graphics.
Yeah, but hey, man, this PS2, GameCube, Xbox era game, it's held up pretty nicely. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it definitely has.
Like if we went to like N64, PlayStation 1, Saturn type of days, then those don't really hold up that well. Even some of the Dreamcast ones kind of are like on the edge. But yeah, this is held up pretty nicely. But of course, Derek Jeter's on the cover, and he's our Lord and Savior, so of course it's held up nicely.
Oh, after this, we have to go back to real MVP, and you know why, Francisco. But anyway, let me finish my spiel here. So, mostly been playing Road to the Show, but I recently started diving into something called Diamond Dynasty, which I'm not playing online because screw that noise, having to pay $10 a month for online access. I love you, Rocket League. I wish I could play you, but I'm not going to pay $10 a month for online access.
You'd have to justify it. If you played like a ton, you'd have to justify it,
Right, but once this whole thing is over, I'll be like never playing it again.
Okay.
But anyway, so I've recently started dabbling in Diamond Dynasty, which is where you create a team and you play various modes. There's one mode called Conquest, which is where you face the other 30 MLB teams. It's almost kind of like Risk.
That's
buy a
cool.
year's worth of PS Plus for... Really, Charles?
Yeah, I found them, man.
You'll have to send me that.
You got
link.
the hookup.
Are they legit?
Got the hookup.
Are they legit?
Well, yeah, you just buy like the prepaid codes.
Send me links, please.
Yeah, I'll find them for you.
Right. So my Diamond Dynasty team is the Orlando Rays. They used to be. That'll be a better known minor league team.
Yeah.
Back when I first moved to Orlando, the Orlando Rays played Double-A baseball over at then known as Cracker Jack Stadium, which is at Disney's Wide World of Sports. They were the Double-A affiliate of the Tampa Bay Devil Rays from I think 97 to 2003. You know what? I'm going to transition this briefly into, or whatever. I'll save that for another day.
What you want to do a better known minor league team for them?
It's fine. It's fine.
I can switch.
I'll save it for another day when I know more more info about it. But I went to quite a few of their games, and I was very sad when they were uprooted and moved to Montgomery. But I am reviving them in a way with the Orlando Rays in my Diamond Dynasty. And if Tampa ever needs another city, if they decide to go to Orlando, don't call them the champions or whatever Orlando said they were going to be. Go back to that color scheme they had.
The O-Rays?
O-Rays. The 90s.
Which one?
The late
the 98 one, or like they're like the mid one where they were like green?
Green.
Okay. All right. The one before
There's such a
the one before their current look.
well.
Actually,
Well, I mean, yeah, the mid look, the the green intensive or the green predominant one. That was my favorite look of theirs by far. So, yeah. Anyway, so playing Diamond Dynasty as the Orlando Rays has kind of been nice in a way.
I'm trying to find video of the Orlando Rays, and I'm just getting stingrays at SeaWorld. But sure.
Yeah, no,
They killed Steve Irwin.
The O-Rays have been out of existence for I think 18 years now, close to 18 years, because their final season was 2003, so they've been out of existence for quite a while. So yeah, I highly doubt that you'll find any videos about them. I can barely find any pictures of them online. But anyway, MLB 17, the show, is my non-sponsor of the week. Promo code ORAYS.
Okay. All right, and I found a video. Ha, he's got a 69 jersey behind him. Okay.
Nice.
This guy who's, I guess he bought an Orlando Rays hat from Hat Club, which is a online hat store. I used to have a comprehensive list of like online hat stores, and I don't know if you can see it on the screen there, Andrew, but he's got the Orlando Rays hat there with the with the gradient look. Oh, we have to talk about the Los Angeles Rams logo after this. Anyways,
Okay.
So you know what? Because I'm stuck inside, I have to give a non-sponsor the stuff that I've got in here because I've been looking at it every day, and I'm gonna have to give it to General Electric because they made my mini fridge, and that thing is literally my lifeline right now because that's where I'm sticking all my food and all my stuff. It's a mini fridge, a General Electric mini fridge. I'm sure plenty of you can find mini fridges of all sorts of kinds. This GE one that I got, it's in my room. I have one for myself just to have my own stuff away from the main fridge downstairs. And Andrew, you've seen the mini fridge as well.
Yes, I have.
It's a good size mini fridge. I've got my microwave on top of that, and on top of that, I got my air fryer, and next to that, I've got my my little mini blender, and I've got my Foreman grill. I've got my arepa maker. Like I've got like my mini kitchen in this corner. But that GE mini fridge it's legit, man. It freezes. There's one thing that this thing does. It gets cold, like freaking cold, where ice starts accumulating on the top, and I have to like let it melt a little bit so I can kind of shave it off and get it out of there. So General Electric mini fridge. Did you give a promo code for yours, Andrew? I don't know if I caught it, but
O-Rays.
O-Rays. Okay, and and so promo code shaved ice I can't eat because I can't eat that shaved ice. Anyways, so yeah, that's my whatever. Okay. So. Oh yeah, we want to talk about the Los Angeles Rams as they continue to take the L this offseason. Todd Gurley is no longer there. He's in Atlanta now, right? I think he went to the Falcons.
Yeah, he signed to a 1-year deal.
Right.
Contract with for 1 year $6 million. There's still like dead money from LA, so he's basically getting a 1 year $11 million contract. So for a 1-year deal, he's still like the 4th highest paid running back in the league.
Wow.
So good for him because the Rams. I'm just gonna steal this for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
The Rams are stupid. Les Snead is stupid. Everybody is stupid when it comes to that organization. Your logo's stupid. Your investment to put all that money into Jared Goff and everybody else and not looking at how much money is actually in your pockets is stupid. And then your decision to trade all those picks for Jalen Ramsey, who's still in a rookie contract year, and you still need to extend him, is stupid. I think we know the motto here, because even though Todd Gurley's arthritic knees are a concern, you don't really play him, so you're dumb. That's why you finished in 9-7. And you let Dante Fowler walk, who's also went to Atlanta. Obviously, they don't care about sloppy seconds. And you're gonna let Aaron Donald.
I mean, they had a pretty strong finish. I think they feel like they can retool a little bit and make a run next season.
But this is the concern, though. You give big contracts to Andrew Whitworth, who's making like 3 years, $30 million, so they'll average about $10 million a year. He's old; he's like 38. And then you're contemplating getting rid of either Brandon Cooks or Robert Woods. So if you have to make a decision, you're already losing wide receivers. You're predicated on running the ball a lot because Jared Goff is just an above average quarterback. I can name you 12 better quarterbacks I would trust in my franchise than him. Granted, he had a lot of flack for being the number one pick in a Jeff Fisher. Trust me, Jeff Fisher used to coach the Titans. I know how bad he is. But you're making all these cost decisions, and you still have to pay certain people. Jalen Ramsey, who you gave up like 2 first-rounders, a second and fourth for. So this whole go big or go home has hurt you because when you're swinging for homers, you're leaving dudes off of the bases. And it's not helping you in that sense. And then, oh, by the way, why does your logo look like a volleyball? Take it away, Francisco, on the logo.
Okay. I was going to find something because you were talking about Gurley's still getting paid by the Rams. There was like and I just found some random stuff here like that. Some random tidbits here. Shaquille O'Neal has the highest ever 2K overall rating in the history of the franchise in NBA 2K. He had 100 back in NBA 2K2. So that was back in it was GameCube, PS2, Xbox, and the Dreamcast. That's how long ago that was. And
Still can't shoot a 3.
The lowest ever rating was a 40 by the White Mamba.
Brian Scalabrine, don't ever insult that man in my household.
Oh, he's fun to listen to. He's fun to listen to. He has the worst ever 2K overall rating at a 40 back in NBA 2K12. So yeah, that released for like the Wii and the PS3 and the Xbox 360. So yeah. Okay, so no, I wanted to see something about the Boston Red Sox because MLB on Fox had it on their Instagram account. Here it is. The Red Sox will pay over $80 million to players who won't or are unlikely to suit up for them in 2020. Those players are Chris Sale at $30 million, David Price at $16 million, Rusney Castillo at $14 million, Dustin Pedroia at $13 million, Pablo Sandoval, remember when he was on the Red Sox, at $5 million, and Manny Ramirez at $2 million. That's who they're still paying.
Wow.
So if
We're paying Manny Ramirez?
Yeah, they're still paying Manny Ramirez.
Backloaded contracts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Or deferred payments like Bobby Bonilla. Anyways, so that all right. So let's go to good old sportslogos.net. As the Los Angeles Rams have changed their logo. They've and the LA Chargers just changed their logo. So both LA teams.
I couldn't tell the difference, to be honest with you, with the Chargers, and I feel ignorant in that.
I can help you out. So, and Chris Creamer, as always, fantastic job. You can see a comparison, but the long and the short of it is, A, they got rid of the navy blue accent color.
Right.
And then also they, I guess, lessened the curve a bit. It used to be pretty sharp, but they kind of flattened it out a little bit.
I am not a smart man, and I'm no Picasso, so the only difference I see is that A now looks like with a lightning bolt, but good for them because it's better than the Rams. That's all I can tell you.
I think it's I like the script, the Los Angeles Chargers with like the A being like a bolt. I like that. It's a lot better than the Tampa Bay Lightning had sex with the Los Angeles Dodgers logo that they almost went with. the one that leaked, if you guys remember that one. It's
Although, let me say this though, or keep going, and I'm pulling something up.
okay. Yeah, so like I like that they've gone with the powder blue or logo that they, or electric blue, whatever they want to call this color. It of course harkens back to their, or well, I mean, they originally from Los Angeles, and of course their heyday back in San Diego, as everyone remembers. So that's not too shabby. I don't mind that. I think honestly, they probably. I don't know if this was planned, because of course Nike is part of the decision-making process with regards to the designs of all these teams. I mean, since they became the official uniform provider, they've done what? The Dolphins, the Browns, the Bucks, I don't know how many other teams have changed their logos over this time. The Jaguars. Wow, they changed all the Florida teams, I just noticed. And now the Chargers and the Rams, and Nike's had a lot of misses, and they're gonna have to go back on some, including the Buccaneers and hopefully the Browns. But
the Browns are changing.
Yeah.
Browns are changing.
Yeah.
The 2020 season.
Perfect. Yeah, because they should never have changed to whatever the heck they changed to. It's awful.
Now, Francisco, I sent something over to the Facebook group really quick.
Yeah. I'll see if I can post that along the side, but we're gonna look at the brand new logo of the Los Angeles Rams, as they are trying to separate themselves from their St. Louis days by having what looks like the brand new logo for LA Fitness. Have you seen the side-by-side of the LA Fitness logo with this logo? They use the same color scheme. They brought back a gradient. I don't remember the last time a team has had a gradient in professional sports outside of the Lightning. Or not the Lightning, the freaking the Devil Rays.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, look at it. It's Los Angeles. It's got the gradient with the yellow horn. It's got a shadow as well. I don't know if you guys noticed the shadow in the A, on that portion of the A there. So it's got a lot of elements that I've never seen in a professional sports uniform. Don't know how that's going to translate to all types of other media and merchandise, because remember, that's why it takes years for them to develop this stuff, because they got to test it out and all types of stuff, how it is when it's written, how it's printed, how it appears on a shirt or on a hat or stitched, all that type of stuff. And they came up with this, which is a lot of people are not a fan of. It's 3.9 out of 10 so far on sports logos. On Twitter, people are bashing it. A lot of people are more accepting of the secondary logo, if you guys have seen that.
The one with the ram head.
Yeah, the one with the ram head, even though I'm still not a fan of it, to be honest. It's still...
But check what I posted on the Facebook group.
Okay, give me a second.
There's a Twitter account called NFL Memes that took the primary and secondary logos and took on one of them 5 minutes and the other one 10 minutes to do a little bit of alteration on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest, I think it looks infinitely better.
Let's see. Give me
And
a second.
You can see the side-by-side comparison.
Let me post that right here. Here we go. It's loading. Oh, and it looks like the Diamondbacks have defeated the Yankees on the game in the background. So history always repeats itself. Sorry, Charles. Okay.
Charles, you saw them, right?
Yeah, I liked it. I think it's a better impression and improvement. It's also more stronger and less soft is the word I want to use. Soft being like the typical logo where you want to say, I want to wear that. That's cool.
Okay, it's finally loading
I
for
could
me.
I could see the inverse being, the just the Ram head would be the primary,
Yeah.
and then the LA edition would be the secondary. And that would look beautiful. That would work beautifully. Certainly better than what they have now.
Well, I mean, they obviously didn't really think it out, and this is where it leaves us kind of mentality. But it's the Rams. Give it 3 years. No one's going to be a fan anyway, so it's okay.
Okay, so let's see. Speaking of, let's put the Devil Rays and
Charles or Francisco, you see it now?
yeah, I see it with the eyes on it. They added eyes to it and kind of made
And
it
also
made it sharper.
They sharpened the everything.
Yeah.
And then I sent you another one as well.
Okay. Is this all from NFL memes or?
Yeah.
Okay, let me just go
The one
straight
that you're
to there.
looking at right now took them supposedly 5 minutes to do.
There was an edit, and I'm not gonna post it on here, of somebody who edited the ram head and added a penis to the nose. And
What?
I'll post it on our Facebook page. I
I've
can't
seen
show it here, but somebody's like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Because honestly, it looks a lot better with it. Because it looks like they added features to it, but it's basically an upside down penis. Kind of reminds me of when John Madden, made a penis on live TV. Let's see. Jameis Winston realizing the Bucks made him get his eyes fixed just so he could see them sign Tom Brady. That's funny. That's a good one. Of course, they talked about the Clemson, Trevor Lawrence thing. Let's see. Social distancing. This is kind of funny. The Super Bowl trophy and the Dallas Cowboys logo. That's a funny.
Yep.
That's a funny one. I like that. Let's see. They officially released Cam Newton, the Carolina Panthers. So that's a thing. There's some articles already that he wouldn't be a fit for the Miami Dolphins. I don't know.
Would you want him? I mean, I thought you were going to tank for Tua.
We've already tagged. Tua's there already.
Well, yeah, you're going to go for Tua though.
I mean, he could learn on the Cam Newton. Who knows? We could have 2 injured quarterbacks. Why not?
I just want to know, is Tom Brady going to have the dreads now that he's going to Tampa? I'm very curious.
I mean, we're going to have the image here, the one that you guys sent me before too, or Andrew sent before, the live look at Tom Brady after 48 hours in Florida with the dreads, the cornrows, and the grill in Tampa.
Love it.
All right, so I can't find it here, but it's kind of funny. Okay. Let's go with that. All right, we'll just put a game in the background here. The Padres versus the Rays. Why not? Okay. What other things? Oh yeah, we were talking about esports, right?
Yep.
Because I don't know. We talked about that, or we could talk about the topic that I actually put in the title, which is the best fake sports in movies and TV and video games and that type of stuff. You know what? Let's go with that. So, Charles, you were the one that came up with this idea.
Yes. All right, so I'll segue it out. So everybody knows it's kind of slow in sports world, but we are subject to the limitations of our body, of our industries, and availability of technology and everything else. So here I am last night on the Goofs chat trying to figure out topics for the show. I'm not in a panic. We don't panic here in Sports Goofs because Charles has a durable butt pillow and he doesn't have to panic anymore in this world.
It kind of reminds me of, you guys remember the writer's strike?
Yeah.
And like a bunch of TV shows were just like scrambling to get ideas and episodes going. I remember the Daily Show was just like awful, but they were just in solidarity. Jon Stewart with the writers was like, we're going to keep going. We're going to show how bad this is without them. So, it kind of reminds me of that without sports,
And that's how we feel here. So we thought about it of making a list of the best fictional sports that we know of, fictional from a different medium: books, television, movies, video games. So we had a couple ideas. Apparently there's a comparable list, so if that website thinks we're stealing from them, we're not. It's just a very limited pool of stuff, but I figured we throw it out there.
Believe me, it's from crack.com. They already died a long time ago.
Oh, there you go. I guess they have a crack in them. Ha ha ha! I'll see myself.
Funny.
But the idea is essentially why you think it's cool, why would you like to do it without the limitations, and we put up a couple things. I'll lead it off. I'm a big Harry Potter fan. I don't trust anybody who doesn't even like it, but the concept of Quidditch is something that you could definitely get into. It's basically the hybrid of, I would say, rugby, soccer, football, and a little bit of some basketball skills if you're tossing stuff. But the idea of having beaters, chasers, and the golden snitch, we all know the rules. If not, let's rephrase it. You get points for throwing the quaffle in the damn hoop. You catch the golden snitch, you win, but you can still catch the golden snitch and then still lose because you're outscored by the team that's shot everything. I think the only time that happened was in Prisoner of Azkaban. That's right. I could probably do a cage segment on Harry Potter. I don't want to get into that. That's bringing some stuff there. But the idea is you're flying around on a broomstick. Maybe Quidditch was more fun too because Harry is like getting attacked by all these things. So you're like, oh my god, the drama. But they had the Quidditch World Cup. I remember they made a video game on it that I played on my PlayStation 2.
Yep.
And after like 3 hours, like, this is kind of boring because it's not that hard. And I don't have friends because this was before online gameplay kind of came in. But it was one of those things that was cool in a medium that would be great to kind of, I guess, live in the real world because people are flying. Crazy little bludgers are trying to break people's arms. There's a golden snitch you can't see, so there's someone trying to catch it. And also you get some cool magic stuff that happens in Death Eaters trying to kill a 13-year-old boy. Who am I to say that's not a good time? Other suggestions I thought about was the light cycle races from Tron and Tron Evolution. That was the second one, right? Or Tron Legacy. Those are just cool because it's just a visual feast of your eyes with Daft Punk playing in the background as everybody's racing down high speed. And if you like the adrenaline, you like the speed addiction, that came to mind. There was the game in Hook that I don't remember, but I know Pan was kind of playing it, aka Robin Williams, against Rufio. And then the other game I thought about was The Road to El Dorado, if you gentlemen have seen that movie.
Oh, I love that movie.
They're just doing the hip check thing where they get the little armadillo to roll up into a ball. Hey, man, like, we're all, the Spanish people, Francisco, we'd be okay. We could shake those hips. Even white old me can do it. Or, just do something like Shakira plays in the background. Anyway, joking aside, like, there's little things that I thought about and I kick into it. There's so much more, I'm certain. I know on the list was Star Trek. That's not really my foray, so I didn't even know they had an imaginary game came into it. What about, and I'll think about it, the one that we should have talked about, the pod racing in Star Wars. Not only did it spin off a great game of the N64, pod racing, but also gave the great memes of Jake Lloyd and his bad acting going, this is pod racing. It also gave us Sebulba, who was probably the only other interesting villain in that movie aside from Darth Maul, but Darth Maul's cool. And you listen, here's the rule about pod racing. You go to it, you watch the pod racing stuff, you watch the bubble explode, and then you go straight into Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn fighting Darth Maul, and then that's episode 3 or episode 1 for you, The Phantom Menace. So those are a couple suggestions for me. It's all really racing. It's all basically a stealing under idea of something else, and then Quidditch is a hybrid of everything else, and then I don't know the name of the Road to El Dorado, but I'll just call it Hip Ball for all intents and purposes. Mm-hmm. But the Battle Angel had what I call Murder Ball. I don't really remember what it was, but it was cool and intense. I suggest everybody see that movie again. I own it. I'm probably going to watch it. What about you, gentlemen?
Okay, so when you brought this up, immediately what came to mind for me was Blurns Ball. So if you guys don't know, Blurns Ball is the evolution of baseball in the year 3000, the 31st century, from Futurama. So, most notably for me, I remember it was like the new New York Mets that were playing at Madison Cube Garden instead of Madison Square Garden. And the sport, and I found the Futurama wiki that has the article of the rules of the game. So, the ball is attached to the field by an elastic tether. though powerful hits have been known to break it. So it's a baseball attached to a tether, and you basically just have to hit that. So it could essentially just, you could hit it and it could snap back and hit the batter if that was to happen. A billboard is just beyond the reach of the tether, and it triggers an automatic win called a grand slam blurn, if the ball enters a small hole in the center of the billboard. Previous balls have been known to escape from Earth's atmosphere. Burns ball is similar to baseball in that there is a pitcher who throws the ball for a player to hit across the field to get a home run. If enough balls go into a small hole in the center of the field, third ball lock, a pinball-style multi-ball, is initiated. At this time, dozens of balls are shot at high speeds into the field via hidden pitching machines that come out of the field, causing frenetic action. At the time of the multi-ball, the batter mounts a type of Tron-esque motorcycle and drifts over the bases, which subsequently flash twice and explode. This may be the jazzed-up version of a home run. Relief pitchers are conveyed from the bullpen to the pitcher's mound by means of a giant tarantula. Traditions of the game include aluminum bats and the seventh and the seventh inning grope, which seems to be the jazzed-up version of the seventh inning stretch. Steroid injections are mandatory. The batter can pay the umpire for brushing off his behind. Okay. And notable players, Taranga Leela, the first professional female player and the worst player ever. Hank Aaron, the 24th, the second worst Burns ball player ever. Also the worst football player. Jackie Anderson, the first woman to play Burns ball very well. Let's see, and some other players here. But yeah. And then yeah, some noticeable things here. They changed the Atlanta Braves uniform as it now has a trident in the uniform, as the city of Atlanta sunk into the ocean by the year 3000. So that's kind of an interesting thing there. And all
Did
new
Fry get a mermaid in that episode because they go to the lost city of Atlanta?
Yeah. And then all new players' numbers are fractions, as all of the whole numbers have been retired, at least on the new New York Mets. Jackie Anderson, playing for the Boston Poindexters, can be seen wearing number 24. So yeah. Okay. So that's Blurns ball. That's my interesting tidbit for a fake sport in movie and media. Any you have anything for Andrew?
Basketball.
Oh yeah, basketball. Made by noted South Park creators, Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
Yeah, that's fun. That's a fun game. That's a game that I would play. Getting to taunt people.
Now, can we add like our traditional sports with like rule changes, like Air Bud, where we can have a dog playing? Can we include that here?
Look, as far as I'm concerned, if I type out a paragraph and I post it on a message board and I say it's part of an idea, then guess what? It's part of our fictional world. You know, I personally think that a professional sport should be lightsaber fights. The toys I get from Toys R Us, where you pick your color and then you go out against somebody and you go the next round. It's like fencing, but cooler, because I don't get how you can have a sword but not have anybody get stabbed to death. What are we, pansies? You know, the Olympics back in the day, man, you know, the Greek gods, they wrestled to the death here. So in the interim, let me whack a little 7-year-old with a lightsaber.
This seems like a perfect segue into the discussion about esports, because I could totally see that being a VR type of setting. And actually, I said to you guys as well, NASCAR is doing that right now in the interim, because we can't have sporting events happening right now. NASCAR is doing virtual sporting events it has been broadcast. I don't know if it's been on Fox proper, but it's been on at least Fox Sports 1 or Fox Sports 2, where they have Jeff Gordon and the other guy that's next to him. broadcasting a race between actual NASCAR drivers, but they're probably racing, I don't know, from their homes or at some sort of center. Even retired ones like Dale Earnhardt Jr. Racing in virtual NASCAR races at virtual speedways, like they did one at Homestead Miami Speedway. So it's basically the NASCAR video game that they're doing, and honestly, it could be like the demise of their real sport. To be honest, if you can simulate your entire sport very easily now at this point, I mean, we've seen Forza and Gran Turismo and a bunch of other racing video games that have come as close to reality as you can get with regards to the look of the cars, the handling of the cars, and a massive crash when you can have almost the same sensation watching them from your TV screen.
At least Madden can tell me what a catch is, whereas the NFL referees can't. So there's a benefit to technology.
I think what might happen is almost like drones. The racers will still be there in person, but they'd be controlling the cars from some, I don't know, booth or whatever. And otherwise, everything is the same. Pit crew has to go out and
fix the car. That's an interesting. I never thought of that. That's an interesting
10 years
idea.
from now.
Instead of having the drivers, I mean, they have drone races. I don't know if you guys have seen those, the drone races.
Right, but it would just be drone NASCAR.
Oh, okay, like almost like self-driving vehicles, but not really, in a sense.
Right.
Like a giant RC car.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Could be a Rocket League. Let's just do NASCAR.
Let's just do. You know how expensive that would be to get off the ground in a real Rocket League, especially if preventing the cars from. Because in Rocket League, your car can explode as well.
NASCAR cars can explode. We're already halfway there.
Okay. So it kind of gets me into, I don't know. I guess my issue with esports is the term sports with the letter E. Because when I think of sports, I think of some sort of athletic event. That's where I go initially.
Okay.
But then sports can also include things where you yourself are not an athlete. You can, like the NASCAR drivers, they're not essentially athletes. They're just or jockeys in horse racing. They're not athletes. It's really they're doing some of the work, but with horse racing, the horse is doing all the work, to be honest. So that's what gets me is I find it hard to associate the sport. I don't know if there's can be like a different term we could use to or competitive gaming. I don't mind that. I don't mind competitive gaming as the label for this type of stuff. I feel like esports was added as a label to try and raise the profile of competitive gaming, but I think it might do the opposite for me in that I think they're reaching calling it a sport, whereas I don't like gaming. For me has always been a separate thing from sports, so that's how I see it. So I can't see Super Smash Brothers as something I can have alongside any sort of other sporting event that I could see, even soccer, for all intents and purposes. That's me.
Do you want
I
it to be
can't
called gaming competition? Because you'll have these tournaments that have the idea is publicity, pride, and sponsorship and cash money, right?
Yeah.
Is that not sports? Just minus the athleticism, unless you want to count trigger fingers. And mental dexterity and mental, acumen. Because look, there's Dota, and there's such a variety. Not to chime in, but we're not even just talking about like what you and I would watch would be probably Rocket League, Splatoon, Smash. There's Dota.
Yeah.
There's
Overwatch,
Heroes of the Storm, Overwatch, all this other stuff. So you go from shooters to tactical games to, I mean, you have the 2K tournaments themselves.
I would have been
2K
so good at
has
competitive
made
Mario
so
Party.
much money. Competitive Mario Party.
I wish.
You know,
I wish that would happen. I would so be there. I could press the
all
A
those
button
old
like
videos.
nobody else. You know?
So there is variety. To put some definition for those who don't know about esports, because I don't get money for playing esports Red Dead Redemption.
Well, that's a whole different thing. Like speedrunning, that's a whole different other type of competition. Speedrunning is different.
That's not even. I don't get that. They skip cutscenes, right?
Well, there's different types of speedrunning now. Speedrunning can be all types of things. Like one of the most notable ones is Doom, like the original Doom or Doom 2 speedrunning. They have different categories for different ways that you play the game. You can 100% it, speedrun. You could do speedrun on ultra violence. You could do speedrun on whatever level, whatever difficulty. Like they have different ones, and some of them are more, quote unquote, more legit than other ones according to their community. And there was a fantastic parody of this that happened for maybe a few months ago, where somebody created an American Dad speedrun community. I don't know if you saw this.
I have not.
Go-
the idea of it makes me love it.
Go on YouTube, go look for American Dad speedrunning, and they break it down as if it is a real speedrunning community in like a video game, as if the intro sequence of American Dad was a video game, and it's people. They've gotten really creative with it. I am impressed. I am very impressed with it. I haven't heard from Andrew. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I mean, what do you think of this?
About esports being sports.
Yeah. Or do you want people to just get off your lawn?
It's weird. I know Charles brought this up, I think last week or maybe 2 weeks ago. But it's a fitting analogy. It's kind of like I forget which justice said it, but it was his definition of porn.
Oh, yeah.
Obscene material.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't really put a definition on it, but he said, "I know it if you know it if you see it, or I know it if I see it."
Yeah.
And that's kind of the same feeling for me, because esports checks most of, if not all of the definitions of what a sport is. There's team play, yes. It takes training, yes. It's not done by robots, it's done by people. But I mean, in some way you can consider, people consider NASCAR to be a sport, but is it though?
Right.
So
Is boxing a sport, or do we label it as combat sport? Because it's not teamwork unless you count, the cut man and your trainer. But continue.
Well, sports can be
Like,
individual
it's
too, like
archery.
tennis or golf.
I mean, I consider combat sports to be sports. It's just a subdivision of it. Kind of like archery is considered a sport. It's not really a team. It's not usually a team event. I mean, you can be on a team, but you're not working at the same time. You're participating individually as part of a collective unit. So esports, it checks the definitions of what a sport is, but at the same time, I know a sport when I see it.
Yeah.
And I don't think esports match that. I don't know why. I can't put a word on it. But it's just something in my gut says this isn't a sport. It's something else. And I mean, that's about the extent of what I can say.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure they can obviously make fantastic arguments as to why it is a sport. And I wouldn't be able to refute most of those. Because Does it require training? Yes. Does it require uh, it it involves a human? Yes. There's some sort of an outcome to it, and it's at the end of the day, it is for recreation or for fun. There's no like life or death uh, stakes to it necessarily. So it checks all of those boxes of what makes something a sport. And if they brought those up, then I couldn't really refute that. I couldn't say no, you're wrong. They're right.
Yeah.
But it's just my gut is saying no, that's not a sport.
Yeah.
It's really not a great answer.
I mean,
but-
no, I get you. It's to me as well. It's my personal preference. I, I can't see myself going to the American Airlines arena to go watch an Overwatch competition. I
Right.
can't like I can I can get behind okay, I'll go watch it on Twitch. I'll go watch a Let's Play streamer, that type of stuff. But I can't I'll play. I mean, I've been playing Rocket League a lot, competition, Super Smash Brothers. I play the tournament mode basically exclusively now, and I'm yes, I get pwned by people who spend a lot more time on the game than I do. But every once in a while, I'll get that one-on-one tournament victory. But even then, like those games that I like, I can't see myself going to an event like that and being a part of it because I still don't like the term esports. I just don't. I find it once again a stretch by some gamers to try and legitimize their passion. Let's call it passion,
And
which is competitive gaming.
That's exactly what they're doing by naming it esports.
Mm-hmm.
It's creating that connection with sports, and it's smart branding. on their part.
Maybe it's the traditional stigma that some people have for people that play video games exclusively. It's the nerdy guy who's sitting at home and doing nothing with his life, that type of thing. That's the stigma. Of course, it's not like that.
For a lot of people, I'm sure, but it's not that for me.
Right.
I know these guys. They have to be in pretty decent physical shape just to be able to sit for so much.
I mean, they could always do the whole South Park World of Warcraft episode where
Right.
where they're just they get really really big and have that kind of position, like seated all the way back with the. I don't know if you remember that episode.
Or they have 5-Star United chair pillow.
Yeah, the butt pillow.
Just saying, the butt pillow.
Oh yeah, get some arch support. Okay, I think we can kind of. For me, it's a no. It's a no for me, dog. For esports being sports, but and to each their own, I guess. All right, so we're at the end here. That means that we're headed to the cage with Charles. So Charles, I actually saw wrestling, and you have proof that I saw wrestling this past Friday.
I was there for it.
Yeah, you were there. You were there to guide me as I didn't know what the heck talking bacon and unicorns were doing there, but sure.
And with everything that we saw, I welcome everybody to your weekly Trueplex, The Cage with Charles. Full disclaimer, wrestling is not fake. It is scripted. It is a dance. It is poetry in emotion. It's a story about men and women chasing titles, beating each other up, trying to prove something themselves, and also dressing up as bacons, not hams, and also as unicorns. So Francisco went on a journey,
yes.
Boys and girls, and that was after he had his educational goof session quarter 1 with us last Tuesday, to try to figure out what the hell is going on in the wrestling world, and is this something that it could entrance and be a consistent fan, or maybe even one day marvel if wrestling's a sport. Let's see about that. Well, not that kind of wrestling, but the other wrestling. It was fun. So we watched SmackDown, the back end, the 30 minutes of it. I called in, we talked about some stuff, and what I felt Francisco got to see was the art of a story build. And the build is basically how you build the story, how you make the payoff, how you get a face.
Hold
and
on,
heel.
Charles. The Big Show is getting a TV show?
The Big Show's getting a TV show on Netflix called The Big Show Show.
He's getting a sitcom, like a
And
family
I don't
sitcom,
know- yeah, and
like
I
a
don't
Full
think
House.
I don't think anybody wants it. I don't think anybody needs it. But if there was ever a time for it to be struck, it'd be now, where everybody's being quarantined and they're going to be sitting there with a thumb in their belly button saying, man, I don't know what to watch. Do I want to rewatch The Office or Parks and Rec the umpteenth time? Or do I want to see this guy on Big Show who I kind of remember him from the WCW days? And also he was in Jingle All the Way as the big elf.
He was?
He was.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Also, here's a fun fact, too. Kevin Nash was a Super Shredder in Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze.
Really?
Probably his best acting role, and he was in both Magic Mikes, you guys, and he was still better as a Super Shredder.
I still love the intro to that movie. I still love, like, the turtles just show up, like, running down the stairs, and boom, the movie just starts like, oh, well, they're here now. I mean, it's so simple. So simple. Just the hero just shows up. No... I mean,
no.
Getting off
predicate,
track. Getting
no
off track.
foundation.
Getting off track.
No, we're building into it. Everybody's favorite Ninja Turtle, real quick. Raphael for me.
Yeah, Rafi.
All right, Andrew.
Yes.
Favorite Ninja Turtle.
Ooh, that's tough.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I it's down to 2 for me. I have mixed feelings because I like both of them equally for different reasons. You know, it's down to Leo and Donatello.
Ooh, a Donnie fan. Okay.
If I had to pick one, my thing was, here was my rationale as a kid. Blue is my favorite color and has been my whole life. Leonardo is the blue one. And, you know, kind of is carried over because of that. Not to mention that I like his style of... He has the 2 swords, correct?
Yes, he has the katanas.
You know, I like that style, dual wielding. You know, in this video game, Star Wars Jedi Academy for the Xbox, you get to create a character, and my thing was always dual wielding. I would have 2 lightsabers. On the other side, Donatello is a bit more of the academic of the group, and I also really like the I forget what the staff that he uses. So if I could be like a mix of the 2,
Okay.
that would be ideal. But if I had to go with one, I'd probably go with Donatello.
Okay. Alrighty.
We went on the journey there.
Indeed. All right. Yeah, sorry,
But
Charles.
bringing it back to the cage, though, Ninja Turtles will always be welcome in my cage because I love that stuff. Francisco got to learn the art of the building a storyline. And what he originally thought was going to be, what's the build for the challengers for the tag team championship held by Miz and Morrison for SmackDown? Was it going to be the New Day? Was it going to be the Usos? It was going to be Heavy Machinery. Otis and Tucker were having a match. But then what Francisco learned is that wrestling is also a soap opera. And so I had to educate him a little bit about the art of a soap opera and wrestling, where they intertwine stories, because you had Heavy Machinery looking really good. They're the big tubby guys who ham and slams, stakes and weights. Love them. Great. I saw them NXT live when they were in the WWF, so I'm very happy for them doing great now. But Francisco learned about the love story that is Otis pursuing Mandy Rose and then finding out Dolph Ziggler, this sleazy man of a human being, plays off so well on commentary, basically say, hey, Otis, I want to stop you here. Look at the Titantron and look at our wonderful date. And then Otis, this lovable lug, just basically loses it, gets a chair, beats the holy hell out of the other 2 guys, and is coming for Dolph Ziggler. So that's the build. That's the match that kind of gets you invested. Also shows you that WWE can be kind of zany. And I got to tell you, Miz and Morrison are a national treasure, and we need to preserve them because they cracked me up. Because they have that Hollywood kind of flair. They were making fun of Otis and Tucker by being bacons. They were making fun of Big E and Kofi by being a unicorn, tossing out pancakes. That's what the New Day does. It was a lot of breaking the fourth wall coming into it, which is kind of what I've liked about these taped / non-taped, but soon to be taped, no fan interaction shows. It feels a little loose. I was watching Raw last night. It's still sometimes eerie when there's not a crowd there, but when the wrestlers get on the mics and they're allowed to do their promos without any interruptions or having to kind of alter the feel of the crowd, it gives it a very natural, very kind of personal effect. I noticed that with Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins kind of talk about on the mic, or even Paul Heyman addressing Drew McIntyre about WrestleMania. So let's talk about WrestleMania, gentlemen. It's still going. It's going to be split into 2 nights now. So, Andrew, I got to definitely send you out my info for that before it starts. It's going to start Saturday at 7 with some of the matches there, and then Sunday at 7. So this is something I've always kind of wanted in the future when there's actually not a pandemic that could possibly kill and infect everybody, because WrestleMania is such a big pay-per-view. It's almost like 6 to 7 hours of wrestling, and it's hard to watch in one sit down, so you split through the weekend. I mean, Wrestle Kingdom, New Japan did that with Wrestle Kingdom 14. They did 2 days out of it. I would like WWE to do it, especially since you already have Raw and SmackDown already there, and then you can have TakeOver on one of the other days, or you just don't have TakeOver. You have TakeOver be the week before, because Friday Night SmackDown would interfere for a Friday night pay-per-view. But it allows more matches, I think, to go on. They give the proper kind of storytelling and action in the ring. It allows you to kind of have a different perspective. Some of the matches are going to be weird. And here's the thing. If there's ever a time to be weird, do it when there's a pandemic that's going to cause the crowd not to be there, because you're going to have a boneyard match between AJ Styles and The Undertaker. A month ago, I thought we were going to have a regular match where they square up and they do some things. Now it's going to be a boneyard match. This tells me 2 things. One, Taker can't go in the ring, which is fine. We've kind of known that a little bit. Not going in the ring meaning he can't do the traditional stuff in ring, so he needs something that has a broadened rule in there, like beating the crap out of his opponent as opposed to trying to wrestle him or be a technician. And then 2, it just tells me that the WWE is willing to get goofy. The other rumor is that The Fiend versus John Cena is going to be shot in a short movie kind of style, and I'm okay with this. They did something similar to it with Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt, I believe at Payback or Backlash 2017 or 2018, after Randy won the title off of Bray. They did a House of Horrors kind of match, I believe it was called, but it was weird because it taped it at Bray's old house. And then it went into the ring, and then Jinder Mahal came in and just interfered. But you can do this kind of production side, because give The Fiend, who is kind of this supernatural, spooky, larger-life character, a chance to really kind of portray it as opposed to being under red light. And then it's Cena. He'll do what he can. I mean, does it help establish The Fiend if he can't beat Cena in a regular one-on-one match? Yeah. But there's no crowd there, so who you can play off of. And the great thing about it is that WrestleMania is a very emotional kind of place, and fans would have been there for a long time, so you know what would happen. The fatigue, the lack of action, because every match always has to – not a lot of them start off hitting the ground running. There's always that build-up in the match so the action gets going. So this kind of prevents you from having the crowds boo all the time, shout CM Punk, or shout boring. So it helps, because I think that's going to be the match as Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler for the Raw Women's Championship. It's going to be kind of a schmoozer. The build has been good, but I don't know if the in-ring product is going to work. Shayna hasn't really impressed Vince, so word on the street is basically that he's kind of unimpressed and kind of hates Hunter for telling him that this woman's going to be the next thing for the women's division, and nothing's come about it. I mean, her finisher is a sleeper hold, so that's always kind of tough to put over on people, especially since each match ends the same way with her from her takeover experiences. Do I think she could be good? Yeah, but she's got switched up a little bit. But you're not going to have the crowd kind of going there. And WrestleMania is 2 weeks away basically, so they have time. They solidify the card a little bit. They have the Street Profits, who I used to see in my NXT days, who are the Raw Tag Team Champions, defending against Angel Garza Andrade. Weird flex, but okay, because it's a makeshift team that just got put against them. Granted, they're managed by Zelina Vega, but Andrade is already the U.S. champion. But in regards to the CV, some of the wrestlers are quarantining. Like originally, I think the plans were Andrade defending his U.S. championship against Rey Mysterio, but Rey's in quarantine. I'm not going to say he has it or not, because I think that's ill to assume that. I encourage everybody out there, just because you sneezed or if you have a runny nose, you don't have it yet. You have to wait till you're tested positive, right? Let's think positively in a good way. about it. That's take your vitamin C, go to your local supplement stores. It takes like $6. Why not? So the card itself, if there's any time for WrestleMania to fail, it's now. Instead of grading it on A, B, C, D level like I usually do, because I am that guy, when I watch a match, I have a number in my head. Or if I have a pay-per-view, I put a letter grade to it. This one's just going to get a pass or fail, because it means I'm going to have something to watch Saturday night. It means I'm going to have something to watch Sunday night. Of course, the match I'm so excited for, because the promos have been delicious, even though I think the in-ring product might be lacking because of rust, is Edge versus Randy Orton. I know Andrew's kind of invested into it as well. The promos have been chef's kiss, Paca meme, that kind of fantastic. It's going to be a last man standing, so that's how you do a blood feud. You don't have a technical wrestling where everybody does arm bars, headlocks, and chin locks. No, what we're getting is going to be like, I'm going to kill you, and you're not going to get up. And I'm really hoping either A, Beth Phoenix, Edge's wife, interferes, or even B, Christian, who was Edge's tag team that they came into together, interferes and helps, because he had history with Randy Orton when he was heavyweight champion. I like long-term story payoffs. This is what I want. Give it to me, Vince, and I'll let you pass. And also, I like WrestleMania and WWE for making fun of it, as we see in the shirt background for WrestleMania 36. I wasn't there. You got to poke fun with it, because this is really, it's on life support. And we're going to say it because they're going to tape a lot of the shows or a lot of the matches, because the PC, the Performance Center, is in Orange County. There's the mandatory curfew that's going on, and you don't have the social gatherings of more than 10 people. Well, WrestleMania is always going to have more than that. So they're trying to knock it out. It'll give them time to kind of fix any mess ups, but it's okay. Back in the day, guess what, guys? Wrestling wasn't always live. I don't know if you can convince me to buy a $28 shirt, but hey, it's what happens. But it'll be interesting. Like I said, Vince, you're going to get a pass-fail on this, and basically you only fail if you don't show up to any of the classes. If I can get any kind of great wrestling, I'd be happy. The other match I'm looking forward to, even though it really has no build, is Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan for the Intercontinental Championship, because Daniel Bryan is a guy I always want on my TV and always want on my pay-per-views, because he is just a ring technician, and he can make anybody look good. And it's about time Sami Zayn gets out of the whole like gimmicky, wimpy manager stuff and shows what he can do in the ring. Vince, don't screw this up. Let him have his moment. Let him have his WrestleMania moment. You kind of took away his first championship win on the main roster by making it 3-on-1 against Braun Strowman Elimination Chamber. Don't do this to him now. Let it feel good, and maybe we get a face turn. I don't know. But AEW-wise, shows are kind of empty. Matt Hardy has appeared for AEW. No big surprise. I know you asked me if it was a big thing. It's a big thing creatively for the show, for everybody behind the scenes. I know he'll take on a good producer role and also help develop the new talents who are being signed, because you got to remember about AEW. It's a mixture of old WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor talents, but there's also a lot of indie guys in there. So he can definitely help them learn how to do the bumps on TV, learn how to cut a promo, learn how to go on the fly, or learn how to stay on the script. So I'm excited for his career. His brother Jeff Hardy will eventually join him in about a year's time, I think. But Matt wasn't needed because Matt really can't go in the ring anymore. But he's a spectacle these days. He was when he became Broken Matt Hardy, also reworked as Woken Matt Hardy in the WWE Universe. But the other big surprise, the Dark Order, finally revealed who the Exalted One is. And the Exalted One is Brody Lee, a.k.a. the former Luke Harper. I was always big on Luke Harper. It's a shame Vince McMahon never really pulled the trigger on him, because there was going to be a storyline where him versus Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship was supposed to happen at Mania in a triple threat, but Vince just couldn't do it, and then he backed out, and then Harper's character never been the same. He's like a 6'3" big man who could do a Hurricane Rana. Him being a leader of a faction, I'm not crazy about. I'd rather him just being a juggernaut. But you know what? He's doing good. His promo when he was introduced was delicious, because he's talking to Christopher Daniels, who's been in this game for like 30 years. He's 50 years old and still wrestling for AEW now. For AEW, but he's been around. And he's going and saying, "Mr. Daniels, you're not the first out-of-touch old man that didn't believe in me." I was like, ooh, shots fired there, Brody Lee. Ooh, but I felt that in my soul, because I think I routinely referred to Vince McMahon as being out of touch. But, you know, he still gets fans, so there you go. But I got to tell you, you know, wrestling, I'm hoping nothing getting too crazy, because I still want that WrestleMania. So fingers crossed that Vince doesn't have to shut the whole thing down. because I want that entertainment, and also I want to educate you guys. I want you to hear my post-Mania psychosis that comes in. New Japan's canceling everything, so Road to Dakantu Hall has been canceled. Ring of Honor's canceled some stuff. Impact's canceled some stuff. So really, even for me, this is all I got for wrestling, except for what I would create in a video game, which I could do. I have no problem doing that. I do it all the time every Tuesdays when we play because I need something that numbs my brain. Or maybe I'll just take a chance and invest in creating my own wrestling organization. Yeah, I can go with that. But
we can go crazy on the creator player mode in one of the games, you know.
we're just gonna have fun with it. But I think that's all I got for you guys today in the cage.
Okay, alrighty. All right, guys, we've reached the end of this show, and we're gonna keep on keeping on as long as we can. All right.
Which I don't think we'll ever run out of material. Let's be honest.
If not, we'll pull something out of our butt cushioned asses.
We're all lawyers. We know how to be creative. That's what I tell myself.
Yeah. All right. So I'm out.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Take care.
No balls, 1 strike. Hit in the air to left. Long fly ball caught for out number 2. That'll bring up Langford.